I suppose that most people come to work just to do a job. I don't know. I don't want to presume what motivates others. I can only speak for myself and say that I'm here because of a single passion. I want to help people improve their lives. Being a teacher is not my job. It's my calling. People often ask why I came back to Poland. I always go back to this question whenever I write something for you guys. That's because the answer is very complex. There are so many reasons that I don't think I know them all. The longer I stay in Poland, the more of them I discover. One of the reasons is technical. I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. At the same time, I always recognized massive flaws in the educational system. I knew I couldn't become a teacher in the standard way. I wouldn't be able to deal with the bureaucracy and problems in a standard school. I could never be myself if I worked in a high school or university. Paradoxically, I knew that working in a standard school would prevent me from being a real teacher. I guessed that I would be able to teach English in Poland just based on the fact that I was a native English speaker. I was right. At first, I thought that the problem with the educational system existed only in public education, so my first job teaching here was in a private elementary school. After 2 years, I realized that the dysfunction was somewhere else, so I quit my job at that school. I spent my next 2 years working at a language school. My work here was much more productive, but I still felt limited. I soon realized that I would have to quit working there and go out on my own. I felt limited because I wasn't representing myself. I was representing someone else's company and brand. I really didn't know how they wanted me to teach. I didn't know if the material I was presenting was acceptable to them. An unfortunate conflict caused us to end our relationship, but it was all for the best because it led me here. Friday represents the end of my 5th year of teaching. As a teacher, I count the years in terms of school years, and I can happily say that it has been the best year of my life. People often talk about New Year's resolutions. I have the same resolution every year. I resolve for each new year to be better than the previous one. I've succeeded on every front. I bought a new flat, I got my license, I'm having a baby, I'm making more money than I made last year. Most important of all, I'm achieving the best results and having the best lessons with the best students that I've ever had. That's amazing. I'm very blessed and extraordinarily thankful for everything that I have. I'm telling you all this not because I want to brag. My life, of course, isn't all sunshine and rainbows. I have my faults. I have bad days. I get into arguments with my wife. I can't sleep at night. I don't get any exercise. I drink too much. But despite all my flaws, I'm continuously improving my life. I'm telling you about my success today because I want you to start believing in your own success. That's why I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher because I believe deeply that all of my students will be successful. If you work with me, you will either improve your English skills or you will quit. There are no other options. My goal is to make myself unnecessary to you. I want you to get to a proficient level in the language. I want you to say, "Thank you, I'm done. I know how to speak English. I understand this language." At first glance, it might seem like that's the perfect way to lose clients, but exactly the opposite is true. I know that if I'm effective in what I do, then you will recommend me further. In fact, all the business I've ever gotten is a result of people recommending me by word of mouth. I think that most language programs are designed to keep you always learning and never to teach you. That's why I know that I'll always have work, because my program is different. It's designed to achieve results. I only care about being effective. One of the goals I set for myself when I first started teaching was to be able to guarantee students results. I have achieved my goal. If someone comes to me with no knowledge of the English language, I can tell them exactly when they will start to speak. It will take between 20 and 40 individual lesson hours. It depends on how much work the student does outside of the lesson. I suspect that the same results could be achieved after about 10 or 15 lesson hours, but I never had a student who did the required work outside of class. Regardless, even with little or no work outside of the lessons, I start to have full 1-hour conversations with students after about 30 lesson hours. For you guys, the situation is a little bit different. Your results aren't as easily measurable. The higher your ability in any skill, the more work it takes to achieve further progress. If you want to have a basic conversation in English, you only have to invest 30 hours of work. If you want to speak at the level of a native, you have to live in a country for many decades. If you want to be an English professor, it will take even more work. When I say that you speak English very well, I'm not lying. I'm just considering how much time you invested compared to how much time I invested. Let's say that you're learning English for 5 years, 2 hours per week. That's about 100 hours per year for a total of 500 hours. That's probably where most of you are at, between 500 and 1,500 hours. I lived in America for 20 years. Let's say I spoke the language for 50 hours per week, which is a very conservative estimate. That's 2,500 hours per year for a grand total of 50,000 hours over 20 years. You also have to consider that during that time I completed a college-level education and wrote and read a lot just for fun. Despite the time difference, we are able to communicate on a relatively high level. That says a lot about your intelligence. I'm saying all this to put things into perspective and to show you how successful and capable you are. I've been blessed to work with some of the most intelligent and hard-working people in this country. I know that you probably don't believe me, that you are part of that group, but that's normal. Only intelligent people realize their own stupidity. Only hard-working people believe that they can be doing more. Of course, they are right. We can always do a little bit more. We can always be a little bit better. We can always learn a little bit more. I'm here to teach you English, but I want to offer you more than that. I want to teach you how to discover and fulfill your own unlimited potential. I'm taking this journey with you. This year was the most successful year of my life because, for the first time ever, I'm starting to professionally represent myself the way I've always wanted to. I'm starting to do the work that I wanted to do for the past 15 years. I'm here to help you achieve your dreams in your professional lives, in your personal lives, and in your education. I can do this with confidence because it's something I've been studying for over 15 years. Every spare moment and all the extra mental energy I had, I invested into learning about what life is and how human beings function. Most important of all, I'm applying that knowledge in my own life and it's working. I'm achieving my dreams. I'm becoming the master of my own destiny. I told you before, but I'll say it again. The person you see today is the result of years and years of work and struggle. I came here from the USA, but I also came here from the depths of despair and depression. I'm a happy and positive person because I learned how to be one. It's not a stroke of luck, and it's not the result of culture. The irony is that when I was in America, I was depressed. When I came to Poland, I became happy. I created a life that makes me happy. Now, I want to help you to do the same. I want to thank you for an amazing year and for all your hard work. I know it's not always easy to make time for these lessons, and I appreciate your effort to come when you do. Thank you. I'm really blessed to be able to work with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next year. As good as this year was, I promise that next year will be better. I will do everything I can to make that happen.